Yo, what is up guys? Delboy here. So Callum Smith has confirmed he has received an offer to face WBO super middleweight champion Billy Joe Saunders. Now obviously Callum Smith is the WBA super middleweight champion, so it would be a unification fight, and obviously it would be a big fight in the UK, and naturally one I would be interested in as a boxing fan. Let's hear what Callum Smith had to say. He said that is a fight that probably does make sense, Smith told TalkSport. How easy is it to make? I'm not too sure. I've never sat and called anyone out. I've always sat down with my team and have given the options and go with what is best. We will sit down and go with what is best for me. I am in a good position. There are a lot of big fights out there for me. The next years of my career are very exciting and I want to fight the best. I want to know how good I am myself. I do believe they have made an offer. I'm not sure the ins and outs of it. I do believe it was a 50-50 split on BT Sports pay-per-view. That is the only detail I know so far. We will speak about it this week, and if that's the next move, then that is the next move. That is what Callum Smith had to say about this Billy Joe Saunders fight and the offer he received. So apparently a 50-50 split, which is fair, and it would be on BT Sports pay-per-view. So there we have it. Now, what do I make of this fight? Obviously, I would be interested. It's a unification fight between two British fighters, two guys who are unbeaten, and two contrasting styles. You've got Billy Joe Saunders, the smaller fighter, but a guy who is elusive, a guy who's quick of both hand and foot, and a guy who boxes out of that southpaw stance. Billy Joe Saunders is a really good technician on the back foot, whereas Callum Smith is a big dude. He's a big guy for 168 with solid fundamentals, good power and excellent timing. I think this fight could be a chess match for as long as it lasts, and I certainly believe it would be intriguing, but I would make Callum Smith a favourite. I do believe at some point size matters, and I believe this would be one of those fights. I don't think Billy Joe Saunders should even be at 168, if I'm being honest. I think he needs to go back down to 160. Ultimately, against the top guys at 168, I just don't think Billy is big enough. You know, guys like Callum Smith and David Benavidez, I think these guys are too big. Can this guy still pick up good wins at 168? Of course. Would I favour Billy Joe Saunders to beat Chris Eubank Jr. at 168? Of course. Would I favour him to beat Anthony Durrell at 168? Yes. Even against Caleb Plant, I would give Billy Joe a good chance, but against the more physical, powerful guys like Callum Smith and David Benavidez, that's where I kind of draw the line. I don't think Billy Joe Saunders is big enough to contend with these guys. I think he'll have success early on against these type of guys, but eventually the size will tell, and I imagine he will get stopped against both of those guys. So listen, I don't have any problem with the fight. Ultimately, Billy Joe holds a belt at 168, as does Callum Smith. It would be a unification fight, and they are all good with me. So I don't have any problem with this fight, and obviously it would make for a good build-up. A lot of people would be interested, and don't get me wrong, a lot of people out there I've noticed are picking Billy Joe Saunders in this potential fight. So listen, I'm not saying I'm right, I could be wrong. I'm just sharing my own perspective on this potential fight, but share your thoughts below in regards to how you think it's going to go. But do you believe this offer is genuine, or do you think it is clout chasing and Frank Warren trying to make Billy Joe look good? Because for me, why would Frank Warren risk Billy Joe Saunders against Callum Smith, a matchroom fighter? Frank is a smart dude. He knows Billy Joe would be up against it in terms of size, physicality, power, etc. He knows Billy would be up against it. So why cash him out against Callum Smith if that's what he's doing? If he's just trying to get Billy Joe on pay-per-view, there are better options. You know, Eubank Jr., for example, like I mentioned earlier. That fight would do good business, of course, but it's a much more winnable fight. You know, what I'm trying to say is I am holding my breath in regards to this offer. I wouldn't be surprised if any BS comes in the way and stops this fight from happening. And maybe from a matchroom perspective, following Anthony Joshua's knockout defeat to Andy Ruiz, is Eddie Hearn in a position to be letting his fighters go to fight on a rival network? You know, maybe at this stage Eddie Hearn will try and keep control of all of his main guys, and where he can secure the advantages, is he willing to let go of Callum Smith to fight Billy Joe Saunders on BT Sports? Who knows? Again, Eddie Hearn could also be a problem when it comes to making this fight. So listen, all I'm saying is I think there's a lot in the way for this fight to happen. I would like to be wrong. It would be an interesting fight, an interesting build-up, and a good style clash. I just have my doubts, that's all I'm saying. Share your thoughts below. Peace.